And we are live. I am so excited, folks. I am just off the hook excited. I was a little nervous actually. I was prepping for the show this morning and my phone rang and it was somebody that I got to take the call. It's somebody that's running for a statewide office here in the state of Texas. Wanted to touch base with me before they announced their candidacy. We got to talk for a little bit. I am fired up. We are putting some good candidates together here in the state of Texas. I'm telling you, these midterms are going to freaking rock, man. They are going to rock. Let's dig into this. Let's get going. Let's get at it. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. I can't tell you who. I can't tell you what office. I can't. They haven't announced yet, and I'm not going to jump ahead of it. But I'm telling you, we have some good candidates running. It is a very different Democratic ticket that's coming up this time. I promise you, it really is. The primaries are going to be a bit of a battle. They always are. You're going to have so we've got some factions here in Texas. We do. We've got some factions here in Texas, but there is a candidate that I'm really liking for one of the major offices here, and we're going to see if we can't push him across the finish line. Let's do this. Let's do this. Thanks for joining me on Brando's show yesterday. That was a lot of fun. I love talking to Brando. He is a friend of mine. He is a good guy. He is a good guy. He really is. I enjoy our conversations very much. I really, really do. Well, let's dig into it. Let's dive into the main story today. Zohran Mamdani, killing it, folks. Killing it. Absolutely killing it. There was a lot of hand wringing and a lot of, I'll be honest with you, very concerned. Even myself, I was very, 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 very concerned about vote splitting. I was very concerned about were people going to come out and support Mamdani? Was it going to be just more than just, it happens sometimes. Somebody will get a lot of excitement in the primaries, and then when it comes to the transitioning, making that turn, because the primaries and the election are two different things. I mean, it's two different races to run. Some candidates can't make that turn. Some paint themselves into boxes they can't get out of. That does not appear to be the case here. Mamdani is absolutely dominating in the early polls coming out after the primaries. He's and you got to keep in mind the margin of error in this poll is 4%. So even if you take all 4% negatively for Mamdani, give all 4% to the next candidate, Andrew Cuomo, Mamdani is still leading. He is outside the margin of error. So this is just hats off and kudos to him. He's doing a great job so far. Keep people fired up. One of the more interesting things to come out of this first poll. This is tongue tied. It'll come back to me in just a second. But yeah, one of the more interesting things to come out of this poll was the favorability ratings. I mean, it was, really, really something. Favorability ratings were really something. Mamdani is the only candidate in the race with a positive favorability rating. Everyone else is negative and underwater. Adams has I mean he's only got like a positive I mean his negative numbers are like in the 60% range. Yeah, he's cooked. I don't care how much money they throw at him. Every dollar spent. This is going to be an ugly race, folks. With these numbers coming out this early, what that tells you is this is going to be an ugly race, because with that much negativity, it's really hard for a candidate to redefine themselves at this point. Um, it is, yeah, you're right. He does. He's like a perennial candidate. I get that. Yeah, Curtis Sliwa, is a perennial candidate. He is the Republican candidate though. But yeah, his polling was so awful in this. I mean, it wasn't even worth mentioning. It wasn't even worth mentioning. But but yeah, oh my God, it was fantastic. Just whew. Going through some of these polls, folks. It really is. Now, let me say that. Put it this way: I'm a politico. I like these machinations. I like these back and forths. I really do. It's not a good thing the way this is, because I'm telling you, I've seen races like this in the past, and the way they shape up, this is going to be ugly. It is. They Andrew Cuomo with numbers like this, and Eric Adams is burnt toast. All he can do is go scorched earth. But Andrew Cuomo is not going to redefine himself. He is not going to win over the core Mamdani base. His only hope in this race is to try to get people to stay home. So they're going to they're going to do the absolute worst thing they could possibly do politically right now, which would be to go scorched earth negative on Mamdani and say the most awful things, which will do nothing but motivate and feed Mamdani's base. This is 100% Mamdani's race to lose right now. No major slip ups on his part, and he will be the mayor of New York City. I don't care how much money they throw at Cuomo. I don't care how much money they throw at Eric Adams. This is good news, folks. It is. It is good news. So, yeah. How do y'all feel about that? Let's do a short little quick roundtable about that. We'll look in the live chat. If you're watching this and you don't have the chat active, there's a button down here you can push. Or if you're watching and get on the replay, there's a button down here you can push that will bring up the live chat panel. How are you feeling about that? Are y'all excited about Mamdani? Are y'all excited about the shift that going on in New York City? Shellbell. Cuomo just needs to go away. That was pretty much what my message leaked going into the primaries is he is just no good for anyone. He really is just no good for anyone. James Hutchinson, it is a new day. It is a 100% change in political winds in New York. New York has been running very pro-corporate, very pro, it's all about sucking up to the business, to the corporations for a long time. This is a 100% sea change on focusing on the main focus of the government being on the people. Seems like we've got Jordan coming with the hearts and skulls. Love it, brother. Love it. Seems like everybody's pretty fired up. Good. Glad to see it. I'll be honest with you, I personally am catching a lot of hell for this because, there are a lot of people that do, are in our community that are concerned. They are. And the purists are really going after Hakeem Jeffries because Hakeem Jeffries suggested to Zohran Mamdani that he put this whole anti-Semitism thing to bed with just a boom, just a major knockout punch statement. This is where I'm at. And you've got the purists saying, how dare you demand that of him? But I'm telling you, I am catching a lot of hell, folks, from our Jewish community. we've got a lot of people in our community that are on the left side in the Jewish community, and they vote. They do. And a lot of them are very, very concerned because they're getting blanketed with bullshit out of there. And granted, there's a lot of mischaracterization. There's a lot of overblowing. They go back and they find a comment from, way back. Something that Mamdani's already dealt with, and just pretend like Mamdani never dealt with it, never talked about it. But yeah, he did. Mamdani won Jeffries' district. He did. And Jeffries isn't opposing. And this is the part that kind of bothers me a little bit. Jeffries isn't opposing Mamdani. He's not. That was good advice. That was good advice. Put this to bed. Stop this pushback, because I'm telling you, on every social media platform I'm on, every time I mention Mamdani, I get somebody that says, I don't know if I can be part of this community anymore because Mamdani said this. And then it's like, yeah, but not really, because the right, this is what they're going to do. They're going to go scorched earth. They're going to take every comment that Mamdani has ever said, and they're going to paint it in the most extreme fashion. And when I say this is Mamdani's to lose, this is what I'm talking about. Do not let the right define you here. I hope he hears this. Do not let the right define you here. Maintain control of that narrative. I know they're concerned about losing some of the useful, excited, faction of our party if he comes out and makes a statement that is, not blatantly, I hate Israel, because there seems to be this faction in our side that just are clueless, that don't know that there's Yair Golan and there is a vibrant left in Israel. All they think Israel and Netanyahu are the same thing. Just like a lot of people in the world think America and Trump are the same thing, which is a problem for us. We definitely need to stop that. But it happens. It happens. There's a lot of people in this world that think that we are Trump. Every last one of us. And it's just something that, you may not want to have to sit there and say, I'm not Trump. 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 We aren't Trump. And to folks in our international audience that's here, we are not Trump. Trump does not define us. He is not who we are. But a lot of people have a hard time on our side applying that same logic to Netanyahu. It just is what it is. 1 second. One second. Let's see if we can brighten this up a little bit. I got a little bit of a lighting issue. One second. Let me see if I can fix this. Give me pause for 1 second. Give me 20 seconds here. See if we can brighten this up a little bit. Time to replace that, folks. I appreciate all the support. This is time to replace one of our lights. It's going out. It's bad. There's the one over here. You see the brightness on my hand there? Yeah, that thing keeps cutting out, and I can't keep it running. So time to order a new one. I appreciate you folks doing that. Mike Daly, feeling great. He's young, charismatic, articulate. We need to define the candidates on the right as they are right now evil. A tip for the swear jar, brother. Love the show. Nailed it, my friend. Nailed it. This is what I'm trying to do. I don't want to discourage people, but what you're talking about is exactly what I'm trying to do with this movement right now. We need to be focusing on defining them, not arguing about what they're trying to define us as. When somebody like Hakeem Jeffries, who has won race after race after race and has elevated himself to the point where he will be the next Speaker of the House, listen to the man. He's got some good political advice. He does. Define this, put it to bed. It is a fraction that I'm seeing in our own base. He's seeing it in our own base. again, this race is Mamdani's to lose. Keep at it, brother. Keep going. Keep going. All right. Well, we've got a lot more going on. We've got a lot more going on. And I want to apologize in advance. I do. I don't like to listen to Trump. You don't like to listen to Trump. But I'm telling you, I'm watching different things from different factions within the Trump regime. And it's become really, really obvious. Trump is not president of the United States. He just isn't president of the United States. He is useless. Andrea, can you take care of that one for me? But he's just not. He's just useless. He is useless. He's not actually governing, and it's just painfully obvious. And I know there's the argument to be made. Yeah, it's a good thing he's not governing. The guy's got pudding for brains, and he was a moron before his brain went to mush. So yeah, but we have these people around him that are god awful, just god awful people. Michael Walk, easy way to describe them: evil, corrupt, unprofessional, unserious reality show wannabes. Yeah, that's a great way to define them, these people. It is something. It really is something. Just to see, it's like this. This is a horrible thing. We've talked about the Posse Comitatus Act before. And we're going to have to come back later in the show to revisit this. But yeah, Ron DeSantis has been trying to deploy members of the JAG Corps, Judge Advocate General's office, basically the legal wing of the National Guard, for folks that aren't familiar with what the JAG Corps is, as immigration judges. They're going to set up their own carve-out immigration court in Alligator Auschwitz. And he has been asking, because he knows that legally he's going to run into problems with it. So he's been asking for cover. And Trump finally came out and said, oh, yeah, I endorse this. Do this. We're going to set up an entire martial law monkey court at Alligator Auschwitz, where these people are not going to get due process, folks. They're just not. They're going to bring in these guys from the JAG Corps that are going to follow orders, and they're just going to rubber stamp these people out. That's what's going to happen. Stop calling stupid. Hermano, thank you for the sage counsel. As of Monday, I am officially a Democrat. All right, brother. Good to see you, man. Welcome to the party. Do good work. Get in, pull, make it happen. Omniscient Sphinx, what's up? What up? Reagan's second term. It is. It's Reagan's second term all over again. And what I'm talking about is, when you're talking about things like this, Trump didn't even know this was happening. Trump was caught off guard by a reporter in this question. This is something that you got Tom Homan, you got Kristi Noem, who's not really, and that's the problem with the immigration issue too, is it's two layers of people that aren't. Kristi Noem wasn't even governor of her own state. They trotted her around. She did little fashion shows, and that's what she's doing with ICE right now. They trot her around. She does little fashion shows, and MAGA people go jerk off. That's all she is. She's not actually involved in policy. So it falls down to people like Tom Homan. And then you've got Ron DeSantis just doing his own thing out there. You know what? I think I'm going to try this. I'm just going to call up the guard, and I'm going to, pull lawyers out of the JAG Corps and say they're going to do 6 weeks of training to become immigration judges, and then we're going to run our own court. And Trump had no clue. His response was, "What? Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, try that. Do that. Yeah, go ahead. DeSantis wouldn't even need to ask me to do that. Yeah, thumbs up. Yeah, do that." No clue it was going on. ET, if you watch him in that BB dinner meeting, you could see tons of foundation all up and down the right side of his face. He is not well. Yeah, that was kind of gross. I don't have any clips from that, folks. I don't, because most of it was stupid. It was Netanyahu filleting Trump. He hands him the letter. "I sent this letter to the Nobel Committee nominating you for the Nobel Peace Prize." Fucker, you're a war criminal. They're not going to take your letter. Marcia Klepper, donations low. Well, I appreciate you, Marcia. Thank you. I thank you for always being here. R. Hans, new donor. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm telling you, you new donors are what make me realize that, yeah, we're going to make it, man. We are. When are we the people going to say enough is enough? We are losing our country in the midterms. We are democracy. That's when we do it. And we're going to talk about people that are being foolish a little bit later, because this doesn't work under the Posse Comitatus law. There is story after story after story out there from actual JAG lawyers, that are saying this is illegal as hell. You can't do this. This is illegal as hell. The military cannot act as law enforcement. There's only 2 carve-outs for that in the Posse Comitatus Act, and one of them being if there's like an insurrection. And Trump has to declare that. Now, in LA, we lost that case. The judge said, "You know what, Governor Newsom, you are right on every point you make. It is illegal except one. There's been violence. And because there's been violence, Trump can legally do this." That is literally how that case played out. So yeah, folks, when we talk about when are people going to get enough and when are they going to, we have to be smart. We have to be smart. If people go out and people be violent, that, you know what? And I'm going to show you, I'm going to skip fast. I'm going to fast forward in the show. I want to show you, on that note, I'm going to show you the fakest fucking video I have ever seen. But they are trying to sell this nonsense so that they can use insurrection, so they can use violence in court to justify these things. Because it's a clear violation of the Posse Comitatus law. It is. Vincent Day, thanks for always being here, brother. Terrence Jones, new donor. Thanks for being here, my brother. I appreciate you. Thank you. We are a very tight-knit family here. Thank you for always being here. Ron Slater, I think Stephen Miller is writing some of Trump's ex-posts. Absolutely. Agree with you there. 100%. Stephen Miller, Tom Homan, these are the people setting policy. Trump doesn't even know. That's a fear I hear a lot, but I've got a story for you here in a little bit that is from them that'll give you some confidence that, yeah, we're going to vote. Maple Midas Janine, Trump thinks everything is a national emergency. Well, they declared a national emergency, and let me show you something. Let me just show you something here. I'm going to skip forward. I want you to watch this video. And people are just so super happy about this. And, I understand the excitement. I understand people are pushing back. This comes out of Anonymous's account on Blue Sky. People are excited. Oh, yeah, people are pushing back, this, that, and the other. I want you to watch it, and then we'll talk about it for a second. Now, you'll notice that first part, that's two very different videos. Two very different videos. One thing I want you to pay attention here, and you'll notice it's spliced together. It is not all one continuous video. I want you to look at all of the people standing around this with cameras, for one thing. And two, I want you to see that everybody from this point on is wearing a mask. Both sides. And three, what's with the gaffes? What's with the gaffes? But watch this. Sounds like we have a professional screamer in the audience. Now I want you to watch this. You see this guy? That is the fakest bullshit I've ever seen in my life. That is the fakest, most made-up bullshit I've ever seen in my life. So I saw this, and a lot of people are very excited about this video. They're really, hey, people are fighting back, and they're excited. Samita Fakeda, thank you for being here, man. Always here, foundational member of the show. Thank you, Paul, and your entire team for educating our fellow Texans. We all need to stand up to elected money grabbers, Republicans, on every level. At 65, I'm learning knitting, taking care of my family, and investing in America's democracy. Amen. I'm telling you, it's the old folks that are going to save us in this. So I took this video and I said, is there something wrong with this? No, this isn't how it happened. And I showed it to a federal agent friend of mine, and I showed it to a friend of mine that is local law enforcement. The federal agent said, bullshit. And the local law enforcement said, those would have to be the worst cops he's ever seen in his life. And then I asked him, do you think it might be bullshit? And he said, I don't have enough evidence to claim it's bullshit, but if it is real, and he drew attention to the fact that while this is going on, they brought a defendant out into the middle of it. That doesn't happen, folks. That does not happen. That is fake as fucking bullshit. If something like that is going on outside, whether it's at a sally port or at a door or whatever, that defendant gets marched right back inside to either a holding cell or a courtroom or an office, and they just sit there and wait. You do not bring and the second thing that they called my attention to was, look at how many times they put their hands on cops. And compare that to what we saw in the videos before. From LA, from Boston, from around. Yeah, that doesn't happen. There was no pepper spray. Several guys had their asps out, but they did nothing with them. No one was struck. Folks, this is the levels is the important word here. Okay. I don't want to get out of my wheelhouse too much, but this has been explained to me by professional law enforcement over and over and over again. Kate Marylight, the idiots pulling Trump strings don't compare to Woodrow Wilson's wife, and she didn't understand world politics. Exactly what this felt like to me. WWE acting. A cop, if you go to every police department, every federal agency, they're allowed to escalate above what they're facing. But they're not allowed to go, somebody, pushes back. So, I shoot him. You can't go to escalate to deadly force. There are levels of force. They will always go above what they get. If you push a cop, that cop will kick the shit out of you. He will. He's not going to push you back. That's not what he's trained to do. He's trained to use whatever level of force is necessary to maintain control of the situation. All of those people putting their hands on those officers would have been pepper sprayed, tased, and had the shit beaten out of them. This was fake as it fucking gets. Why? Now, it could just be clickbait. It could be just some, people trying to get people excited and, ooh, yeah, fight back. Or it could be something more nefarious. It could be the exact shit that Trump is using in court to allow him to get around the posse comitatus law. This is the kind of thing I've actually been very afraid of. When I would tell people, look, when the troops show up, go home. And I caught a lot of hell for that, but I'm like, you don't understand. If you end up in a kick and ass contest with these folks, even if it's one-sided, you give them legal predicates. You give them legal predicates. You establish the needs that they have to argue in court to get around the posse comitatus law. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy is the wrong word, but you understand what I'm saying. Russia has been faking videos to garner support. Trump will make an excuse for martial law and delaying midterm elections. Actually, they're not going to delay midterms. So, you know what? I see a lot of people are concerned about that. I will jump to that portion of the show. Not to mention both sides are carrying batons, which aren't legal for civilians. Yeah, there's so much wrong with that video. But it is just, people are just raving about it. Because they don't know. They don't understand law enforcement. They don't. Let's skip to this because there's a lot of people concerned about the midterms. Folks, you don't do this if you don't intend to have an election. I warn people about these Republicans. And there were a lot of people that were like, yay, Brad Raffensperger, because you remember the contested election and the stuff leading up to January 6th. Everybody was like, ooh, Brad Raffensperger, he stood up to Trump and he's one of the good ones. And there are no good ones. There are no good Republicans. None. The part here about targeting voters that use a P.O. box, yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that. That's illegal. You can't do that. I would imagine that is a handful of people that tried to do that, and they catch those when they enter them into the system. You can't use a PO box, but the business addresses, that's where it gets nefarious. That's where it gets very nefarious. Folks, there are a lot of people. Randy Oliver, thanks for always being here, brother. Hold the line. Keep calling out the BS. Thank you. Is it to bring out troops? I recognize the Asian ice guy in real raid videos. I staged this. That's what I'm thinking. That's what it feels like to me, is that they staged it. They did. There was so much wrong with what happened there that is not a legitimate law enforcement. That is not the way law enforcement acts, especially when they brought the defendant out. No, that doesn't happen. That just doesn't happen. But back to what we're talking about with Raffensperger in Georgia. If you're going to not have elections, you don't go to this trouble. I like to use, again, the North Carolina Supreme Court race as an example of what they do. This is what they do. They're going to challenge a ton of these. Then they're going to get sued for doing it. Then that is going to create misunderstandings as to, do are you still registered? Are you not still registered? Which is going to leave some people to not check. And then it's going to leave some people that are kicked off the voting rolls that are legitimately that show up to vote and they're not registered, and they end up having to fill out a provisional ballot. Like in a lot of areas, folks, yes, fill out your provisional ballot. If something goes wrong, fill out your provisional ballot, because if that election comes down, to being close, that ballot will make all the difference in the world, and you can go back and you can cure your ballot in just about everywhere in the country. Fill out your provisional ballot. I'm not saying don't fill out your provisional ballots. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this kind of thing that Brad Raffensperger is doing, because I can't tell you the number of people who have business addresses in their home. There are so many LLCs. There's so many people that run businesses out of their home. They know this isn't going to be legitimate. They know that. They know it's going to be challenged in court because they want that theater. They want the Democrats out there arguing what they're going to claim is voter fraud, and then we're going to be, in their eyes, what they're going to spin to their base is we're arguing for voter fraud to cheat. When really, it's a lot of their base that runs businesses out of their homes that are going to end up benefiting from the lawsuits that we file. But most people are very, very ignorant about elections. Very, very, if you're out there installing air conditioners for a living, how elections are run probably isn't in your wheelhouse. It's probably not your thing. Jeremy Breeden, thank you for being here, brother. It troubles me how many Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, and straight up bigots are going to be joining the ranks of ICE under their new $100 billion budget. Yes, that is huge, brother. That is huge. Customs and Border Patrol and ICE and all have always been the bottom of the barrel. They always have been. They have been scraping the bottom of that barrel forever, trying to fill their ranks. Now they have a bunch of money. A bunch of money. It's just going to explode. It is. It is just going to explode. That is a very real concern. But you understand what I'm saying here, folks? The optics of it are going to be beneficial for the Republicans because we're going to end up fighting this in court. They're going to claim we're fighting to cheat when really we're fighting for their own base to go out and vote against us. I mean, it's the craziest thing there is, but it is what it is. That's why they do these things. Then it's also going to create confusion before the election, which will lead to challenges by them after the election, to challenge ballots after the elections that they lose. Folks, you don't go to this kind of trouble if you don't intend to vote. You don't. Now, I'm telling you, I'm showing you how they're going to cheat. They are, which means that you must verify your registration. They're going to make it hard as fuck for you to vote. You got to do whatever it takes. We've got to get our people, our coalition together and storming forward, because they're going to make it as difficult as possible. And you could see it here, just like they did in that North Carolina Supreme Court race, the Riggs-Jefferson race. They're going to create laws that create confusion, and then they're going to challenge those ballots afterwards. The fact that it was so many, that it was 65,000, that so many people showed up is why they lost that challenge. If it had been 6,500, those Republican judges would have taken the hit politically and bent the knee. But the fact that this was so blatantly obvious election stealing, which is why I am telling you, yes, you're going to vote. Yes, they know they're going to vote. Yes, they're already working on doing the same freaking cheating again. The signature verifications, they're gonna reduce the number of polling places for us Democrats to vote at, which is going to make our lines longer. All of that is going to happen again, but we are going to vote. I hope that gives you some confidence there. Yes, there will be a midterm. We have to focus on getting our coalition together as tight as possible and get those messages that are fracturing of our own coalition pared away so that we can just tear this up. So let's jump back to what I was talking about with Trump and how Trump, obvious things that are obviously happening that show Trump is not president. He is not president. You folks that are former military will understand just how insane this is. The White House had no clue that Pete Hegseth was unilaterally going to cut off arms shipments to Ukraine last week. Exactly. That is exactly what we need to be doing, folks. This is why we built this community. This is why we built this community. So that you can go out and you can carry knowledge to them, you can help them, and we can save our country. We can, because this is the Republicans, folks. They don't govern. They don't like to govern. Stop coddling stupid. Thanks for always being here, man. This level of desperation shows how bad they're losing. Take heart and hold the damn line. Exactly. Exactly. They know they're in for it in the midterms. They know they're in for it. But yeah, I just want to reiterate this, just how insane and off the hook this is, that Pete Hegseth, without clearing it with the President of the United States, unilaterally decided to cut off arms to Ukraine. Folks, that doesn't happen. We have no president. We have no president. All they are is a freaking reality television show that just keeps reacting to what their different factions do. It's insane. It is insane. We've got them doing this. They're completely unprepared. The White House is completely unprepared for the blowback that's going to come from this.
Also got some news on when it comes to trucking in the United States. And one thing that I think that it might be of interest to a lot of people are new rules requiring that if you want to drive an 18-wheeler on our roads with a commercial license, you're going to have to learn how to speak English and understand and read English so that you can be trusted to know all of the regulations and safety precautions required to drive these 18-wheelers.
Well, all the road signs, but also if you get in a car crash or if you're pulled over by law enforcement, you have to be able to communicate, what you have on your truck, on your rig. Now, listen, this is not a new rule. By the way, the English only requirement or English proficiency requirement has been on the books for a long time. It's just that Barack Obama made sure that if you violated that rule, it was a slap on the wrist. We're going back to the old rule of we're going to put your rig out of service.
Yeah, none of that is true, what he just said at the end. Look, as somebody that you folks that own CDLs out there know, there are regulations. If the driver's incapacitated, you've got in your door. It has to. There are laws to say it must be in your door, a manifest of what you're carrying. This is not an issue. What are you carrying? They don't want to hear you tell them what you're carrying. They want that manifest. So yeah, this is all mischaracterized. This is the immigration push. There are a lot of immigrants that get into truck driving. Truck driving is one of those jobs that is just it's not a highly sought after job, folks. It's not. So a lot of immigrants come in, they get their CDLs, and they go over the road. They just go over the road. Nikita T, had to split my funds between you and John Ossoff. Thanks for all you do. No, thank you for supporting our candidates. Thank you for supporting our candidates. I appreciate you. I appreciate you doing that. But yeah, folks, this is way big. This is going to explode. There have been people that have been kind of mischaracterizing for a while, saying that we have a shortage of truck drivers. We don't really, at this moment, have a shortage of truck drivers. What we have is we have a system that really needs some antitrust work done on it, because these major shippers are all working in unison to suppress wages. You can't do that when you have a shortage of drivers. These companies have developed systems where they're functioning with 80% and 90%. And there's a company out there with 100% turnover. Yeah, let me say that again. 80% turnover, 90% turnover, 100% turnover. And there are people that look at that and they're like, oh my God, we've got a driver shortage. This and no, we don't. We don't. We have an industry that focuses on young, new drivers, including immigrants. And they'll do things like they'll contract a driver, put a driver under contract. They'll pay for him to get a CDL. And then that driver has to drive with them for X amount of time or buy out their training. They have an influx of young people working in the industry. The older experienced drivers are the ones that are really getting screwed. And here's the thing. The only thing that's allowed them to maintain the system is truck drivers don't make a lot of money. There aren't a lot of truck drivers out there that are set to retire. So unlike other industries where, we are already aging, I think the average worker age right now is like 42. In the trucking industry, it's 47. There are a lot of very, very, very old boomer and Gen X truckers out there that aren't going to be there forever. They're going to die even if they don't retire. So take the aging trucker problem. That is a problem. That is real. We know we're going to lose in 10 years, we're going to lose a substantial part of our trucking workforce. We don't have a problem now. We don't. It's a meat grinder. They just keep bringing these young truckers in, and deal with a massive amount of rollover in jobs that no other industry would ever even mildly contemplate. That's why things have become so dangerous. And it's bad for drivers. It really is. It's one of the biggest complaints drivers have right now is, as long as that rig is moving, they're making money. But when they get to a depot, well, they get put in a queue and they may have to sit for 5 hours, 20 hours, a day. Well, they're not paid for those layovers. Even though they're still doing the job, they're not paid. This is what that meat grinder machine has been designed to create. Well, here you have, again, a faction of this regime willy-nilly going out and doing something that cuts the Achilles heel of that machine, because those immigrant drivers are one of the key reasons they're able to do this. Because let's face it, over-the-road trucking sucks. It's not a fun job. You're away from your family a lot. You are driving all the time. You know how tiring driving is? It's not a healthy job. They must do this or wages will explode. Well, again, you've got part of the Trump administration willy-nilly, because immigration is their red meat to throw to the base, to the bigots, to keep their bigot base together. They are undercutting their corporate donors, which are like, you're screwing our shipping costs. You're going to explode wages for truckers. And you're hurting immigrants that these are not criminals. These are people that are working. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of truckers out there, right-wing truckers. There's already a lot of right-wing truckers that are going to be like, yeah, do it. Do it. But think about how stupid these people are and how poorly they implement everything. Folks, if you bought it, a truck brought it. So think about how stupid the implementation of this is going to be. And what that means for your prices, your inflation, your ability just to get goods. Because even a 5% reduction will devastate the shipping industry. It will devastate the shipping industry. Wages will skyrocket, which the truckers are like, woo, do it. We've been waiting for that forever because wages have been so artificially suppressed in the trucking industry. So I can't even say that part of it is a bad thing, but damn, you're abusing people to make it happen. The very people you come to ask work. And you're letting people do this that are intentionally cruel and stupid and incompetent, which means this isn't going to be done well. Yeah, that's happening. Oh. So yeah, that's the kind of thing that they're off doing willy-nilly on their own. This administration, the White House has no clue. This is going to blow up in their faces. In the next few weeks, we're going to see Trump talking about truckers. What truckers? What are you talking about, truckers? Just like he's doing here. I want you to imagine this, folks. Trump is getting no briefings on Ukraine. Trump is getting no briefings on Ukraine.
On Ukraine, the Ukrainians have asked the International Court to go after Russia for using toxic chemicals in the fight. Germany and the Netherlands have had intelligence saying that. What does U.S. intelligence believe, and what do you believe about the use of chemical weapons? And would you agree that that's the case in the court?
Well, ask John maybe to discuss it if you'd like, John.
Well, Mr. President, obviously, chemical weapons, if it's documented and its use, it's illegal. It's against all international laws of armed conflict and treaties. And obviously, I can't share in this room with this audience the intelligence that I can share with you privately. But obviously, you're not going to stand or allow for any violations of international law by anyone.
That's right.
Did you catch that? No one has briefed Trump that Russia is using chemical weapons in Ukraine. I know, Hillbilly Paul knows, sitting out here in the middle of the frickin' woods. I know. You know. Everybody in the frickin' world knows but Trump. Because nobody briefs Trump. Trump has no clue. When he was asked about that, he had to, do we know anything about this? Because I sure as fuck don't know anything about this. Do we know anything about this? Who should talk about this? We have no president. Could you imagine for 1 second if Joe Biden took that question, I mean, try to imagine that for a second. Joe Biden taking that question. So, Metaficated, thank you for always being here. Thank you for the great support. Thank you, Nika. I have also been spreading support to Dems on all levels. Paul, you are you are as old as you feel, and Zoran has proven that boomers are the new 30s. He's doing a great job. He's getting a lot of people highly motivated. I love it. I love it. Amen, David. Amen. That is why unions are so important. The trucking industry shows exactly what happens when you reduce union membership and the power of unions. They are absolutely abusing truck drivers. Bet you Trump knew? No, he's clueless. You could see it on his face in that video. Do we know anything about this? Is this real? I mean, think about that, folks. There is a war in Europe. And the guy that's supposed to be president of the United States is not getting briefed. He's just not. He has no idea that Russia is using chemical weapons. He has no idea this is happening. He has no idea that civilians are being targeted. And if you think I'm exaggerating this, watch this video. And I do apologize. I don't like to listen to Trump talk. You don't like to listen to Trump talk. But it's important to know. E.T., you could only fit so many comic panels into a briefing sheet, and he only likes a couple of sheets maximum. Yeah. We have no president. We don't. This is president by committee. I want you to look at this. First of all, look how he's dying right in front of us. Look at his face. Jesus Christ. Just look at his face. But he is dying right in front of us. But look at this realization that he's finally coming to.
I don't know. We get a lot of bullshit thrown at us by Putin. For you want to know the truth, he's very nice all the time, but it turns out to be meaningless.
Do you want to sanction him? Lindsey Graham has a sanctions bill on Russia. Do you want him to?
I'm looking at it. Yeah, no, I'm looking. The Senate is passed a very, very tough sanctions. But yeah, I'm looking at it.
And you sign that?
It's. I don't know. We get a lot of bullshit thrown at us by Putin. For you want to know the truth.
Now, my first thought when I saw that was the bribe check didn't clear. All that shit Trump was promised in Russia, the buildings and the must not have cleared. But I just sat there and I watched that video and I looked how old and feeble he looks. And then I listened to what he was saying. And it just the realization that I am watching the president of the United States finally come to the realization that Vladimir Putin is full of shit and handling him. Real time, watching that realization. Something we've known for decades. That I know. Russia puts out propaganda. They do nothing but lie. They never follow through with anything they agree to. And because Trump's not a real president, because his mind is pudding, we've got guys like Witkoff out there just on their own doing these negotiations. And Witkoff was asked directly again just yesterday. Okay, you're supposed to be negotiating peace. What does Russia concede if it's a negotiation? What does Russia concede? And he couldn't come up with a single item. Nothing. That's not a negotiate. Nobody's negotiating. You've got this guy running our Russia policy, and he's got no clue. You've got the guy that's supposed to be president that's not getting briefings, that doesn't know what's going on, that's obviously declining. I mean, the man is literally dying right in front of us. I mean, imagine being Ukraine at this point. Imagine being Ukraine at this point, seeing this. We have to dominate in the midterms. We have to dominate. We have no choice but to dominate in the midterms. We just don't have an option. We can't all be our own emperors for this election. You know, we have to just goose step along right into that, and you have to check your registrations. We're going to have to double everything that we've done in prior elections, because they are going to cheat. But there will be elections, folks, and we have got to get motivated. We've got to get the wind in the sails. We have got to stop we're not going to get to vote talk. We've got to get everybody motivated, because this is dangerous. We are not designed to be rudderless. We're not designed as a nation to be run as a reality TV show. We're not. People die on a mass scale when that happens. It is, James. It is embarrassing, but it's more than embarrassing. It's dangerous. It is dangerous to have somebody like Tom Homan, and nobody has a choker chain on that guy. Nobody. He's just off doing whatever the fuck he wants to do. Stephen Miller is off just doing whatever the fuck he wants to do. You know, it's whoever's taking bribes, you know, that's what their policy is this week. And then the White House just reacts to it and tries to explain to you why it's Joe Biden's fault. It's not good, folks. And I do apologize. We got Trump talking here again, but there's two more clips that just drive home the point I'm trying to make here to you.
Mr. President, do the tariff rates change at all on July 9th, or do they change on August 1st?
What are you talking about?
Tariff rates, do they change on July 9th or August 1st?
They're going to be tariffs. The tariffs are going to be the tariffs. I think we'll have most countries done by July 9th, yeah. Either a letter or a deal.
But they go into effect on August 1st. Tariffs go into effect August 1st, but the president is setting the rates.
Howard Nutlick knows. Trump has no clue. Trump has no clue. Nobody's talked to him. He said, I'm going to break this video down piece by piece, okay? Piece by piece.
Mr. President, do the tariff rates change at all on July 9th, or do they change on August 1st?
What are you talking about?
Tariff rates, do they change on July 9th or August 1st?
Okay. I'm damn near deaf. I am. I'm damn near deaf. Too much shooting. I've been deaf my entire life. I just cannot hear very well. I cannot. I literally cannot follow conversations without hearing aids. I can't. This man is so vain, and it's such bullshit pretend that he won't wear hearing aids. He just won't. And he can't hear. You know, when Joe Biden couldn't hear, he would cup his hand over his ear and he would ask, you know, this guy, it's just vanity. He never, ever, ever wears hearing aids, and he is fucking deaf. As someone who is deaf, I can tell you he's fucking deaf. He cannot hear.
first?
They're going to be tariffs. The tariffs are going to be the tariffs. I think we'll have most countries.
He has no clue what she's talking about. He has no clue what he signed. He just signed an executive order. Now, I want you to think about that, folks. He just signed an executive order moving the date from the tariffs to August. Okay, he just signed it. He has no clue. All he's trying to do is they gave him some talking points. And he's trying to find out which talking point fits this question because he has no clue what this question means.
Done by July 9th, yeah. Either a letter or a deal.
But they go.
And the talking point he picked was 90 deals in 90 days, which didn't happen at all. At all. They don't have one deal complete. Vietnam is the closest one they have to being complete, but they have none that are complete. No deals. So he wants to reiterate that talking point because he doesn't really understand what's going on. He just knows there's that talking point, 90 deals, 90 days, been saying that, they've trained the pony to repeat that.
Into effect on August 1st. Tariffs go into effect August 1st, but the president is setting the rates and the deals right now.
And there you go. Howard Nutlick, the guy that's actually running the policy, that's making the decisions, answers the question. Because that's what this administration is. It's just a bunch of fucking... Could you imagine if Pete Buttigieg, as transportation secretary, was out there just making policy on his own, just making decisions, and the White House had to say, what? We did what? Oh, let me tell you why this is a good idea and it's Trump's fault. You know how the corporate media would just rip Democrats apart that were doing this? Every story on every network would be, is Trump in charge? It would be, is Biden in charge? Is Biden really running the government? Do we have a bunch of people running their own factions? It would be nonstop. But here it is. The corporate media watching this happen over and over on every single issue. Russia's using chemical weapons in Ukraine. Are we going to act on that? What? What are you talking about? Do we have anybody that knows anything about this? Do you know what the corporate media would have done to Joe Biden? Do you know what they would have done? This is something, VD Hertz, this is something that actually broke my heart. They aren't. They are not that reliable anymore. They used to be the backbone of all news, the wire services, and they've bent the knee. They're selling tabloid shit too. Why isn't anyone in the corporate media talking about, and this just goes to show you how badly they've sold their souls, because this would be a great tabloid story. This would put eyes on the frickin' screen. Donald Trump trying to prove that his brains aren't pudding. He would fail miserably. It would be massive news. They're not covering it because they're in the tank. Mike Daly, Paul, we must stop saying, imagine if Democrats did this. Democrats would never do this. There is no comparison. Exactly, my friend. Well said, sir. Well said. You are absolutely right on that. Democrats would never do this. This is the last thing I want to show you. Just real time. We have a disaster going on, and this is Trump.
In light of the floods, do you think that the federal government needs to hire back any of the meteorologists who were fired in the last few months?
I wouldn't know that. I really wouldn't. I would think not. This was the thing that happened in seconds. Nobody expected it. Nobody saw it. Very talented people are there, and they didn't see it. It's, I guess they said once in 100 years, they've never seen anything like this. So I wouldn't, people.
Okay, again, let's just break it down real quick. I mean, I don't like to hear Trump talk. You don't like to hear Trump talk, but it's important. Blue Lady, do you think the cabinet members draw straws daily to see who has to be his handler? Man, I really believe 100% that is what his chief of staff is doing. I believe that he is just 100%. It was like when Don Regan was running Reagan. Yeah, I just think that they're just handling him, period. He doesn't get briefings. He gets a list of talking points. He gets very curated reporters that are going to ask. Reporters are submitting their questions in advance. They're being told if you ask anything outside this box, you're going to lose your privileges. This is all going on. They are 100% handling the press. They're 100% marching him around, Grandpa by the hand, and handling him. Just give him a list of talking points. When he gets a question, just try to figure out which talking point fits. Mr. Natural, from now on, I won't vote for any candidate until I know who all their political donors are. Let's not have purity tests, my friend. Let's just not have purity tests. Julia Simpson, thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. This shit ain't free, man. This shit ain't free. All right. Let's just break it down real quick.
Mr. President, in light of the floods, do you think that the federal government needs to hire back any of the meteorologists who were fired in the last few months?
I wouldn't know that. I really wouldn't. I would think not.
Nobody talked to him about when they fired the meteorologists. He has no clue who's been fired. And he's just telling you right there. How would I know? I mean, who the fuck am I to know what our policy should be? I mean, he's telling you right there. How would I know this? You're the fucking president, dude. It's not just a TV show. You're actually the president.
This was the thing that happened in seconds. Nobody expected it.
Actually, that's not true either. That's not true either. They actually had the meteorologists called it the day before. They said there's going to be severe flooding. The announcements came out all night long. The problem is the chain was broken. There was no connection between what was going on at the National Weather Service and the people. That's the part where, the coordinator, Doge, gave him an early retirement. That's where you get staff that know, hey, we've got to be screaming this. We've got to come out with, and then the postmortems of, hey, what can we do better? This guy's telling you, nah, we're just going to keep letting people die.
Saw it. Very talented people are there, and they didn't see it. It's, I guess they said once in 100 years, they've never seen anything like this. So,
no, it happens about every 25 years. Between 20 and 30 years, it happens. Not every 100 years. That was their first talking point. Grandpa Pudding Brains went back to the first talking point they gave him, which is 100-year storm. Nobody could be responsible for it. 100-year storm. No, it's not. We've been through this before. It's every 20 to 25 years this happens.
People are trying to blame the school. They're trying to blame the camp. They're trying to blame. It's just a horrible thing. But no,
yes, the camp is responsible. Yes, the camp is responsible. When you build a camp on a river in a floodplain, you are responsible for the safety of those children and having a system in place to know when there's going to be flooding. 100%, they're responsible. But again, this guy doesn't like responsibility.
I wouldn't say that now.
Sorry, I'm messing fun of you people. Sorry for the gulping. This is insane. No shit. Weekend at Bernie's. No kidding. Mandy Bailey nailed it. This is dangerous, man. This is beyond dangerous. And again, it's all just talking points. People have figured it out. You know, the taco trades and the shit. You know, no, Scott Bessent isn't going to allow these tariffs to go into place. He's just not in full effect. And Trump's not running shit. We've seen that. We've every issue. Trump has no clue. So you've got Nutlick, you've got Navarro. Where's Peter Navarro? That man is just gone. Nobody's heard or seen Peter Navarro long enough that they may be able to legally declare him dead. He's just gone. But you got Nutlick out there and Bessent out there. Those two are fighting out about the tariffs, but Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, is not going to allow these tariffs to go in place because that man knows that the economy is already tanking and what tariffs will do to it. The problem is they're up this creek without a paddle. Trump can't stop saying tariffs. Joe Emily, love you, Paul. Not to distract, but trans folks can now get passports with their correct gender marker. There is a statement form you need to sign that says you're real. That's good information, Emily. Joe Emily, thank you for sharing it. Thank you for putting it out there for people. I would add to this, be very careful about your state's voting laws and make sure that they don't prevent you from voting. Be very careful about that. Silly Bebo, thank you for being here. Yet they're the party of responsibility. I know, right? I know. But here we go. I mean, it's all talk. It's all talk. Got him in the room, handed him his talking points. There will be no more extensions on tariffs. We mean it this time. We mean it this time. I have a suggestion. Check with Scott Bessent because he's the one that's actually running things. Donald Trump is not running anything. If you want to know what's going to happen with tariffs, check with Scott Bessent. And I don't mean when he's on Fox repeating talking points to help Trump out. I mean, look at what they're doing. Look at his policies. Those tariffs aren't going into place, which is good news. The economy is struggling. It is struggling. So we don't need tariffs slapped on top of that. That would be, these tariffs, everybody's been saying it's going to be a freaking disaster. That's why they keep, we keep having these taco tariffs. Oh, I mean it this time. I mean it. No, that's not happening. But every Republican is loving every announcement because, hey, opportunity to make some money. Buy that Trump dip. Buy that Trump dip. They know they're in trouble, folks. They know they're in trouble. They're doing shit like this. They're trying desperately to throw anything out there that will distract. This disappeared like a fart in a hurricane. I mean, it hit the news cycle and it was gone. Nobody cared. FBI launches criminal investigation into John Brennan and James Comey. Yeah, tell me that these people aren't living in the past. Tell me these people aren't living in the past. What do I think about the Democratic Jolly in Florida running for governor? Former Republicans scare the shit out of me. I don't put a lot of faith in them. I'm going to have to see a lot out of Jolly before I can get on that train. Former Republicans, I'm not betting my kids' future on them. I'm just not. I'm going to have to see a lot there before I ever speak out for Jolly. He's done some good commentary on the news, but that's, he's still that man's a lifelong Republican. But look, is this going to move the needle with MAGA? No. It's not an inch, not a fraction. We talked about that before. We talked about the culture. With the last show, I did 3/4 of the show talking about culture, why we need to establish our own to have an alternative, and what their culture does to their voting base. No, none of this is going to move the needle an inch, not an inch. You can bet that they may lose 5% that just won't show up. That's it. You'll get a few of them that are just discouraged. That's it. Diane Kenyon, $88 billion in customs and tariffs collected in 2024 and $77 billion so far in 2025. I'm telling you, they are desperately afraid of these tariffs going into place. They really are. They're talking a lot, but you can see the negotiations. Everybody's figured this out. Nobody's playing ball with these people. Nobody. They're not getting anything that they wanted. This is blowing up in their face. And everyone knows if Trump ever pulls his diaper up and says, no, we're doing this, you will do this or you're fired, the economy tanks immediately. It's already struggling. But is it going to move the needle with right wingers? No, it's not. Folks, this is Brian Tyler Cohen. He does a good show, and he's a great follow on Blue Sky. I will not. I left X. I will not support Elon Musk and anything he does. I will not. So I'm not going to X. I'm not looking at what these right wingers are saying on X. I'm not. Brian Tyler Cohen kept his X account. And I have to say, doing this is somewhat useful, although I think it would be more useful if everybody would just grow a set of balls and actually just leave X. It hasn't hurt me at all. Actually, our community's grown since we got rid of that MAGA trash. But Brian Tyler Cohen's still there. But this answers the question. Do you think any of this is going to move the needle for right wingers? This is one of the right wing accounts that's over on X that's got tons of followers that, the cheerleaders. Kathy Ultramaga says Democrats will get equal time when the Epstein list is released. Reserve your disgust and buckle up, sweetie. Woo! Them Democrats are going to be in trouble when the Epstein files come out. Same person? Seriously, who gives a fuck about these files? I mean, if that isn't telling as to what MAGA is, I mean, from buckle up, buttercup, them Democrats go, woo, we got to release them, got to protect the children. Got to protect the children. Them Epstein files got to come out. Them Democrats going to pay for that too. Who gives a fuck about them files? Yeah, this isn't going to move the needle with them at all, folks. Stop trying. Stop trying. Do not make your politics ever about moving the needle on MAGA side. I never want to see Gavin Newsom doing Charlie Kirk's show again. Ever. Ever. I talked to Colin Allred about this when he was moderating his message here in Texas. I'm like, dude, I'm not going to tell you how to run your campaign, but there is no one receiving this message. No one. Had that conversation again this morning. Make sure your message isn't for them. Because there's no them to receive your message. This is who they are. Literally from got to protect the children to pedophiles to who gives a fuck about the Epstein files. It's what they are. It's all they are. And folks, it's not just gotcha stuff. It's not just, hey, social media entertainment or feel better about ourselves because we're better than they are and shit like that. It's not, man. It's not. People are dying. Government is important. What government does is important. Latest update, the list is growing, and I'm sure it's above 180 now. This list is growing incredibly fast. There's 100, as of this morning before the show, right before the show, there were 173 people missing that nobody will say it, but they're presuming they're dead. They've already recovered well over 100 that are dead, but there's still 100. I'm sure it's well over 180 now. We're going to top 200 people. See, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it would pass that barrier pretty quickly. It's going to keep growing and keep growing and keep growing. Folks, I have no problem saying it. I have no problem saying it. Government is good. It is. Government is good. The Democratic Party believes in government. That's the party I'm supporting. I like my roads paved. I like a government that when it fucks up and says, wow, a bunch of people are getting killed every 20, 25 years. Let's fix that. They don't say, how dare you ask those questions? That's just Mother Nature. That's not our fault. No, give me a government that says, damn, that's our job. Let's fix that. Sherry Ellison, the mission is now to get non-voters off the couch. Amen. Amen. And let me tell you how you do that. Attack them. Define them. People do not vote to say thank you. People vote to say fuck you. Run your campaign not talking about, let me tell you about my policies because my policies are so good. Well, yeah, buddy, your policies are great. Nobody votes to say thank you. Give them a reason to get up off the couch and tell the Republicans, fuck you. By showing things like, yeah, we got a problem here in Flash Flood Alley, and we need to fix that. And you've got one party that's saying, oh, that's just Mother Nature. It's not our fault. Don't blame us. It's not our fault. It's not our fault. You can't blame us. It's cloud seeding. It's cloud seeding. That's what you get with Republicans. Then tack on to the bottom, and we've got a plan to fix this. We always have. But you make sure you show Chip Roy being indignant and pissed off that people dared to ask questions as to what caused this. That's how we run our campaign, on the offensive. That's why I have no patience. People are like, how dare you tell me I can't criticize the Democrats? I get a lot of likes on social media for that. Shut the fuck up. That's not how we're running our campaigns. We're not second guessing ourselves. We're putting our team jerseys on and we're going to work. That's what we're doing. Jordan, Mexico has done more with the rescue in Texas than Trump and Abbott has done. Abbott is talking Dallas. I know, that was just freaking sad. That was sad. What he's talking about is a press conference with Abbott. He couldn't answer the question, so he started talking about football. He really did, folks. He started talking about football. Thanks for the support, Barry. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here, Mr. Eisenberg. So we got some time left. Are you with me? Are you with me? Am I barking up the right tree? Are you feeling what I'm laying down? It's time to get motivated. I just had a conversation literally as I was prepping the show. That's why our thumbnail today was not very involved. I had a lot more that I was going to stick in there. I had a really ugly picture of Trump and this, that, and the other. I took a phone call from a great candidate. I'm very excited. I can't wait to tell you about it next week. Let's get motivated. Let's get these people off the couch. Like you said, we got to get these people off the couch. And our path doing that is talking about them. It's talking about them. Now, folks, if you're on Blue Sky and you follow me, notifications are now available. Blue Sky has a terrible design flaw. It does. It's got a terrible design flaw that the anarchists absolutely love. They absolutely love, and people don't understand. When I put a statement out on or a video out on Blue Sky, people respond to it. I cannot respond to the stupid statements. I can't answer questions, and I can't because I bury my own post because the feed there is chronological. And people follow people as an act of kindness. They do. If somebody comes up with a good statement, hey, give that guy a follow. Make them feel good about having followers. Well, Blue Sky is really designed in such a way that that's a problem for you. Because if that person doesn't keep putting out quality content, you're still going to get flooded with the shit that they say and do. On the same par as the people that, yeah, you really want to see. So Blue Sky finally came up with notifications. Go to my page on Blue Sky. There's a bell at the top. If you don't see the bell, just update your Blue Sky. And if you are following me, there will be a bell on the top. When you hit the bell, you will get a notification of when a new video comes out, and we can actually get the message out. We've got one of the largest communities on Blue Sky. Nobody hears or sees the messages because of the design flaw that Blue Sky has, the way its feed is designed. ET, in our fight to keep our democracy, in our fight to keep out democracy. No, I think you mean our democracy. It isn't just going to work. We are going to get involved and hold the line. Amen, brother. Amen. But yeah, if you follow me on Blue Sky, you're going to have to get those notifications or you will not see my videos. If you see the most important button, unlike other platforms, the like button is incredibly important. If you want to get a video out, like and comment is what everybody tells you. Like and comment, like and comment. You'll hear that all the time. That's how people get their video. The algorithm will do it for them. The algorithm will say, oh, people are liking this. People are talking about this. Let's show more people this. That doesn't happen on Blue Sky. Blue Sky is chronological, one post after the other, after the other, after the other. So if I post something and then somebody says something like a Trumper or one of those people on our side that just can't help but shooting ourselves in the ass says something, I can't respond to them because then I've shoved another comment into the chronological feed. I can literally just remove their comments. That's it. The most important button on Blue Sky is the share button. It's the share button. If you share it, and I don't mean quote, I mean share it, more people will see it. It will keep bumping that video into the chronological order and more people will see it. A little different on Blue Sky. So yeah, if you're following me there, hit the notifications button. That's how we keep our community growing. Ben Bullard, Trump can't be briefed, can't read, and the attention span of a 5-year-old and pudding for brains. Wouldn't understand most of what he's being briefed on anyways. No, they don't. It's a pain in the ass. A lot of times I'll put a post up and delete it because I'll catch a typo in it and then repost it. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass. Some good people there, though. There really are. There's some good people there. A lot of people there, highly motivated. It's good fertile ground for growing our community. Yeah, I'm very excited about this, Mandolius. I'm very excited about this election. There's a lot of good candidates announcing they're coming out. This is the season for it. If you're building a run, this is when you do it. Let's continue on with the round table. By the way, again, folks, if you're watching this on replay, there is a button down there that you can push to, they call it a panel. They don't call it the chat. They call it a panel. Select that and you'll be able to see all these comments. Tube Kurt in Massachusetts, not a nail biter for Dem victory in 2026. What's best use of personal time and resources to help other places out? You could volunteer with other campaigns. You can phone bank for them. You can postcard for them. My suggestion is stay involved with your local Democratic Party, because no state has enough bodies, and we need to be focusing on those local races, the mayor's races. We need to be focusing on those, statewide state races. Keep involved in winning, school boards. Those people don't have enough support. The ones running in those school boards specifically don't have enough people. So before you go looking to run off to another state to help out, which is a good thing to do, if you see somebody running a good campaign, volunteer for them. Absolutely. But yeah, get involved in those local races right where you're at. There's somebody that's running that needs help, that needs a body. Great question, by the way. Great question. I tell you, one of the hardest challenges of doing this show is not getting distracted and not getting lost in the conversations y'all are having in the chat. Sometimes I just wish I was in the chat. Great question, David Page. That is a great question. I've heard no one ask. That's why I brag on you people in this community. What a great question. Why the hell isn't ICE out there looking, to help out? They do that in a disaster. They pull from, other agencies to deal with it. Why isn't ICE down there helping in the recovery effort? I mean, they now have a larger budget than most countries' militaries do. Why aren't they down there? All right. Great comment, by the way. Yeah, this is one that just really flew under the radar. You know what? I need to give them some recognition here. I do. David Cantu. Yeah, that disaster at Camp Mystic would have been much worse. It was two young girls that also happened to be Hispanic that got people to safety. It would have been much worse. There aren't a lot of stories about that out there. So don't go looking for it in the summer. I will find you. I will find something and link to it. They were very courageous. Very courageous. All right, folks. Yeah, absolutely. Mexico is helping out 100%. Mexico is helping out with the recovery effort. 100%. This is real. Our friends, our neighbors. I give a shout out to HEB also. You folks that don't live in Texas don't understand how much we love HEB. Great people. Great people. It's a local grocery store. I'm telling you, one of the first people, there were just convoys of HEB 18 wheelers hauling water and food and everything to help. World Central Kitchen showed up down there, and HEB was there to give them food and supplies. Can't shout out enough to HEB. And watch the Texas folks start the minute you mention HEB. Yeah, if they ever go national, you will be some fortunate people. It is a great grocery store chain. Cannot shout out to HEB enough. They do. They do. Yeah, that's my problem too. When we moved out here in the sticks, I don't have an HEB anymore. It's one of the things that we cry about. Devil down. HEB always helped Houston. Love them. Yep. Good people. Good people doing good things. Amy Manuel, why didn't any of the other camps lose campers? Actually, we're hearing about one other camp that did. It just didn't make the news. So yeah, but no, I hear you. That first of all, it's pretty localized. We like to talk about it. People keep, and God bless you folks. The number of you people that reached out to find out if we were okay. We are. It's as far from here to that flooding as, say, from here to Vicksburg. In a whole other state. It's a long ways away from here where it happened, but it was actually a very localized tragedy. It wasn't widespread. So yeah, you're not going to hear about hundreds of camps that got wiped out because there just weren't hundreds of camps in the region. Yeah, I've never met anybody that's moved to Texas or isn't a homegrown Texan that doesn't absolutely love HEB. They started in Corpus. It was just a independent grocer down there in Corpus Christi, Texas, which spread to Central Texas and the San Antonio area, where it just really blew up. And now they're in Austin. They're in it's mainly the Central Texas region across there, and it's spreading across the state. My folks in Dallas will have to let me, Dallas Fort Worth area. I don't know if has HEB made it up to Dallas Fort Worth yet. I know they're in most of the major cities, so I'd assume yes. But HEB stands for Howard E. Butt. It was the guy that started the grocery store, and just having Butt in your name wasn't really a big seller, so they call it HEB. There you go. I knew they had moved to. I knew that they had spread out of Central Texas and were expanding. Everybody that has one, I cannot wait for them to come here. I cannot wait for them to come to Northeast Texas. I know it's crazy. We're talking about a grocery store chain and people are this excited. But yeah, next year one is opening and people are like, all right. And they're following the news. Oh my God. They pay well. They take care of their employees. Their employees are some of the most. I have a friend of mine Steve, that I grew up with. He and I went 100% opposite directions in politics, so we don't really talk that much anymore. But I still love the guy. He and his wife, fanatically loyal to HEB, because they take good care of their people, man. They take good care of their customers. They're always competitive price wise. Cannot, and then no, they don't pay me. They don't pay me. I'm just telling you, that's who they are. And when there's a crisis like this, there will be HEB trucks loaded with water, loaded with cleaning supplies, loaded with everything. They have this down to a science, just screaming towards wherever they're needed. Well, look, folks, we're going to call it a day. I appreciate you. I hope what we've done here is useful. Again, hit the notifications button on Blue Sky. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button here. Hit that thumbs up button. Enjoy some Texas cities at night.